Okay. Hi, this is Shannon Kringen. Call myself Goddess Kring. I'm in Seattle, USA, and it is February 4th, 2022. And I'm having some insights. I have to dash off to do my freelance work. As humans, we seem to be hardwired to want to belong and fit in and have a sense of community. And I was just taken aback or touched and moved by something that musician Jewel said recently on video, because there's the drama with Neil Young and Joe Rogan, and I don't want to argue about that with anybody, but I like the point that she made about, oh God, somebody's trying to talk to me. I wanted to read something that I wrote. Some of the insights I wrote on someone else's wall that I also want to write on my wall on one of my social media sites. I can feel that I try to belong in a certain way, like the way I cling to my jobs as a freelance person. That's my way, I guess, of feeling connected to community. But I mostly just feel connected to plants and animals and nature, and my spiritual feelings. That's interesting to ponder. I think that being raised as an only child of parents who divorced when I was 4, my parents are very different and they didn't really belong together, but they had me. That's the main thing my parents did, is create me together. And I felt from a young age kind of left out, excluded. And I kind of feel like I learned from a young age that my mission in life was to kind of not belong to the group and to deal with whatever feelings arise as long as I have the freedom to be myself. And now I'm thinking about the way that I am. I'm a bit of a loner. I'm left-handed, only child of divorced parents. Neither one of my parents had kids with other people. So I'm truly an only child, 100%. Not that that's good or bad. That's just a fact about me. Um, I'm mostly introverted person who likes to share a lot through my art and writing these words. I remember being a little kid and being aware in first or second grade, maybe even kindergarten, that I wanted to belong with the other kids, but I wanted to be my real self. And I did not want to just conform to things I didn't believe in. So from a young age, I realized that it's a bit painful to feel left out and excluded. I remember I used to come home from school and say, "Mommy, I feel left out. Mommy, I feel excluded." And she was just like, "Well, just go make friends." It's like, so from a young age, I felt like I was a bit of an outsider and a bit different. And I realize I'm partly shy and sensitive, but I also just am not willing to play phony baloney social games with people. I'm really not into that, and I'm still not into that. So I do as little as possible that I feel like is artificial and not genuine. I try to be genuine. Um, so let's see. I did not want to conform to things I didn't believe in. So from a young age, I realized that it's a bit painful to feel left out and excluded, like you're the weirdo. But I would rather be my own unique self and have freedom than conform to a group that I did not agree with. It's complicated, but my way of connecting to society is to do things I believe in and then go off by myself and have freedom as much as possible. So the things that I do for a living help me feel connected to a sense of community, and I feel connected to plants and animals and nature sometimes more than I feel connected to other humans in a large group. I think I'm kind of a pattern thinker. I look at humans and society and I see patterns. Current life on this planet has made me see patterns even more distinctly, and I'm trying to navigate where I belong and where I fit, because I want to do as little as possible that I don't believe in and focus on things I actually believe in. I love my solitude so much. I very much love my solitude. I also feel a sense of spirituality when I'm in nature, and I'm not religious. But I'm a spiritual person, meaning I think the whole universe is connected. It's hard to explain, but my sense of spirituality is very earthy and natural and intuitive. It's a feeling in my heart and soul. It's about synchronicity and how things connect, how coincidences bring us together, and things seem like they fall into place sometimes, and sometimes in bad ways, and at other times in good ways. My spirituality is beyond the duality of science versus religion. So I believe in science and spirituality, and it's wisdom, and it's not one extreme or the other. I don't think you have to be a total atheist who believes in science, or you're a total religious person that does not believe in science. I don't believe in either of those extremes. Not all science is created equal. There's objectivity and ethics in science, hopefully, not always. Also, extreme scientific extreme dogma where we're told that we're supposed to believe something, whether it's true or not. Because in medicine, I'm not going to say specifics, but sometimes, like in the 1800s, what we believed about medicine and science is different than what we believe now. And sometimes when a doctor comes up with a new idea, it takes 50 years for other people in the medical community to catch on. Oh, that guy was right, or that woman was right, who had a new idea. So sometimes new ideas are challenged and people are really old fashioned and stuck and set in their ways. So my spirituality is beyond the duality of science versus religion. In other words, religious dogma, I think, is just as bad as scientific dogma, but I'm not going to say anything specific. I would just say that I'm spiritual in a way that overlaps with scientific wisdom and scientific truth about biology and nature and science and microorganisms in the soil and the regenerative agriculture. I love the wisdom of regenerative agriculture, meaning working with the earth and the microorganisms in the soil, as opposed to using lots of chemicals and pesticides and synthetic things. So my spirituality lines up with, maybe it's Native American wisdom. I don't want to label it in a trivial way because I have tremendous amount of respect for Native American wisdom in terms of seeing the earth as being created by the spiritual energy that creates the universe. I usually don't use the word God, but the energy of the universe that creates, and how we are one species. Humans are just one species on this earth, and we are here affecting the earth in positive and negative ways, depending on what we do or what we don't do. And I feel like sometimes we tinker with nature in a Frankenstein kind of way that I'm not really a huge fan of. And so to me, a spirituality and scientific biological wisdom line up. And I don't believe in being a total atheist or being a total religious person that believes in superstition. I mean, there's superstition in science, just like there's superstition in religion. That's my opinion. That's just my personal opinion. So I hope I can say this without getting myself in trouble, because you have to be careful what you say these days, because people get upset and it's against certain rules to say certain words, and that's really weird. So I'll just say that my spirituality is beyond the duality of science versus religion. I believe in science and spirituality and its wisdom, and it's not one extreme or the other. What's actually true overlaps with science and spirituality. That's my opinion. But I don't want to tell other people what to think. I don't want to be the thought police for other people. I don't want the people to be the thought police for me. So I'm just acknowledging, like, okay, where do I fit in the earth? Where do I fit in this world? Like, I'm just like, I never got married. I never had kids. I'm 53 years old and I work as an art model, and I have multiple streams of income as a freelance person in other ways as well. I have some websites that subscription websites only, that I create content for, and people are members of my websites. And I make money in multiple different ways. I'm what you call low income. I'm not a wealthy person, but my lifestyle is so inexpensive that I'm kind of like middle class, even though on paper I'm low income. I live like a middle class person, I guess, because I'm not very materialistic, and I just need basic food and shelter and functional survival. I'm not like, I love to just walk in the forest by myself, and that doesn't cost any money. That's really wonderful. I know how to live in Seattle, which is a very expensive city. I know where to park for free. I'm willing to park and then walk for half an hour to get to where I'm going so that I don't have to waste money on parking. That's what I do. It's also good exercise. And so I don't waste money on parking. I don't waste money on silly things I don't need. I don't smoke. I don't drink alcohol or smoke anything. I just eat healthy and drink a lot of water, and I'm into non-duality. That's all. And Jewel, the musician Jewel, said she respects and admires both of the men that are in the big drama right now online, that I'm not going to elaborate on their names. You know who I'm talking about, but Jewel was talking about the non-duality, and it makes sense because she was raised in a very alternative way. I was raised on Whidbey Island in the forest, and my mom put me in alternative schools. And even in San Diego, before we moved to Whidbey Island, I was in San Diego and in an alternative school called Abraxas, and we learned through going to the ocean. We learned about biology through going to the ocean, and we were encouraged to appreciate our individuality and our creativity. And the curriculum, thank God, the curriculum I was taught as a kid was free expression and creativity and individuality. Some of the curriculums now are not really very creative. I also love working as an art model because I get to be in art studios with creative people who are painting and drawing and sculpting and using their imagination and their creativity with their painting. And each person who paints me as a model paints me in their own unique way, even if they use a certain technique of painting. So I love creativity and individuality, and I love open-minded debate. And I like that Jewel pointed out in the non-duality way of seeing it, that you can respect and admire both men that we're having a conflict about. Just like when there's a certain area of the world where there's two groups of people and each side is against the other side, and some people say you have to pick one side, you're not allowed to have empathy and compassion for both sides of a conflict. I believe that you can have empathy and compassion. You can be on the side of, I'm not a fan of violence and war at all. And I'm on the side of empathy and compassion in seeing why humans label each other as the good guy versus the bad guy. If we have empathy and compassion for each other, I think it was Martin Luther King or Jesus or somebody that said something like, listen to the concerns of your enemies, instead of just labeling somebody else the bad person versus the good person. If somebody labels themselves as the good person, then they don't see their own shadow. So non-duality can be helpful because you can learn new things, learn how to have empathy and compassion. There are very few, I think, psychopaths and sociopaths in the world. Sometimes, in other words, some people you can't reason with at all because maybe they're a psychopath or a sociopath and they can't learn to have empathy. But we can have empathy. Like I can have empathy for people who I don't agree with. Try to have empathy and try to stand in their shoes and imagine what it's like to be them from their perspective. So to see things in a non-duality kind of way. And that's kind of what Jewel pointed out on video recently. Hope the video is still there because I'm sure that she might get some criticism for saying what she said, but I think what she says is very reasonable and respectful. And I didn't listen to the entire thing. I think it's 42 minutes. I recently listened to 5 hours of people discussing certain things about ethics, and that was eye-opening to me. So I just wanted to make a point about non-duality and about figuring out where I fit in the world, which is I'm not really a conformist. I'm a bit rebellious, but I don't rebel against everything. I have to actually believe in what I'm doing. And so I'm having to navigate certain things in the world right now in my own different way. There's a lot of challenges involved in that. So I just wanted to share that. I hope that makes sense. I hope what I said makes sense. So Shannon Kringen, Goddess Kringen, Seattle. Thanks for appreciating my videos. If you do, hope you get something out of this. Every person is unique, and as corny as that sounds, we are all completely unique. literally. We're all in this together, but we're all a little different and we're all unique. And I guess from a young age, I've always appreciated that everyone is an individual. And when I meet somebody, people tend to put each other into categories of what they look like and where they're from, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, that's how we deal with each other. But on a literal truth basis, we are all unique individuals and we're all like our own little universe. That's kind of how I see people. And each person is their own little treasure. And each person has good facets and bad facets, I'm sure. So including me. So, okay. Have a good day, everyone. It's February 4th, 2022, and I'm alive on this planet. I'm happy to be alive, and I would like to go beyond the duality and beyond the polarity. And I would just feel really comforted and refreshed by what Jules said about having empathy and compassion for people on different sides of a conflict instead of just thinking one is right and one is wrong. Maybe the truth is more nuanced than that. And maybe there's some gray zones and maybe it's not one extreme or the other. Maybe I'm just asking this question. I'm not telling you what you should think. I want to keep my mind open and free and flexible. I want to stay close and connected to nature. I am part of nature. I'm a human, a Homo sapien on this planet, but I am connected to the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees and the microorganisms in the soil. Bye for now.